2 weeks ago, we started our fall garden series by talking about what you can grow in a fall garden and how to find out your first average frost date, if you didn't already know it. This week, I'm going to take you along as I plan my fall garden. Hey, I'm Brian with Next Level Gardening. If you're looking to join an online garden community that offers tips, tricks, and support to help take your garden to the next level, you're in the right place. Get started now by clicking subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss anything. Now let's get growing. This video is going to be a little more off the cuff than normal because I want you to see, like you're sitting across the table from me, how I do this. I'm going to show you how I plan everything, where it's going to go, spacing, companion planting, everything involved. And then next week, we'll move to seed starting. So I always start with some graph paper and a pencil. You don't need graph paper, but for me, it just helps with spacing out the plants to scale. I tend to overpack an area, so knowing that this many squares equals this many feet kind of keeps me from doing that. Kinda. Then I lay out my seeds kind of grouped according to type. And I have my book for consulting. So much research went into this book, I can't possibly retain it all up here. So it's nice to have my own book for reference. So if you don't have that book, I'll leave a link to it down below. So after the video a couple weeks ago, I hope you guys figured out what you want to grow and got your seeds purchased. I have mine all right here. I like to lay them out and group them to get a basic idea of where they will go. I have two different gardens this year. I have the main vegetable garden, and I have the area out in front that I used this year as my pumpkin patch. Now that area won't become the formal garden until later next year, so I can still get another season of crops in before that. Out there, it's just two long rows. I don't like planting in rows because it makes it easier for pests to find their favorite plant and then just go right down the row laying eggs. However, cool season crops like brassicas don't need to be pollinated to produce the part we eat. That means I can grow these out there and cover them with some kind of netting or tulle to keep the cabbage white butterfly away. So that's what I'm going to do out there. I'm going to grow a couple of long rows of brassicas. Mainly for me, that means cabbages and broccoli. I'm growing 5 different kinds of cabbages this year and 2 types of broccoli. So like I said, I have 2 long rows out there and I might add a third. I just have to be mindful that while they're still in the ground, I will most likely be building some terrace walls around them. So cabbages you space 18 to 20 inches apart. Now these rows are actually 17 feet long, so at 18 inches apart, I could plant 11 or 12 cabbages or broccoli per row. Looking at the Chinese broccoli, it says to sow them 8 inches apart. Oh, and wow, only 55 days from seed to harvest. So these plants are small. Okay, I just changed my mind. I'm gonna grow these in the main vegetable garden with everything else. And I think I'll do the same with the Napa cabbage. It stays small and grows a little faster as well. So I'm going to leave the front yard to the workhorses of my fall garden, which is the big cabbages and the broccoli. So I'll do 1 row of cabbages and I'll do 1 row of broccoli. And if I decide on adding a 3rd row, I'll probably make that mostly broccoli. Now I always decide on the main crops first, and then I go back and add in the companion plants. So we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so that part was easy. Now comes the bigger task, the main vegetable garden. And I'm gonna be adding another bed to each one of the terraces that I have now, but that won't be done in time for fall planting. But I will have those ready for next spring. So we have 9 beds on the lower terraces measuring 4 by 10, and then we have 2 beds, technically 2, it's 1 long one right now. And again, there will be 3 come spring. Once I get that other section added, I'll have a very long bed up at the top. But for now, on that top terrace, we have 2 beds that are 3 by 9, basically 3 by 18. And right now, that's my tomato bed. I'm growing some cucumbers up there. The tomatoes, the cucumbers won't be there very much longer. The tomatoes will probably be in there until November or December. But at my last house, I planted peas following the tomatoes, and that way they could use the same trellis structure. And I ended up with this impressive wall of peas. It was, 7 feet tall, and just you couldn't even see through them. So these two beds are spoken for with the peas. And the variety that I will be growing is my favorite pea, Lincoln. Now let's talk carrots. I want to grow a lot of carrots for cooking and juicing. And right now, my beds are 6 inches deep with hardware cloth for gophers underneath. So while tiny roots can travel deeper into the native soil underneath, and this summer, I've had no problem with that. A lot of lush growth. Nothing looks like it was, starving for space. But tap roots like carrots and parsnips, they can't go past that mesh with their tap root. With their little roots, they can. So I'm going to use the grassroots fabric raised bed that the peanuts are growing in right now. And that's going to give me plenty of depth for the Imperator variety of carrots that get long. The New Carota, the little fingers, and the Parisian carrots, those only are about 4 inches long, so they can go into the regular beds. So let's keep going with root vegetables. These are the snowball turnips. Did I say parsnips before? I meant turnips. They go from seed to harvest in 5 to 8 weeks, much like the little carrots. So I'm just going to line them up right here. All right, how about beets? I started juicing recently and I love it. And I went to buy organic beets at the store and I was appalled with how much they cost. So we're gonna plant plenty of those. I've got 2 varieties, Bull's Blood, which is my favorite, and then I'm trying a new one this year called Cylindra. Yeah, Cylindra. I like to harvest my beets, at least the Bull's Blood, when they are about golf ball size. So that only takes 7 to 8 weeks from seed. Now these are something I also want in succession because I don't want them in the ground forever getting bigger, and I don't want them to all be ripe at the same time. So succession sowing means sow some seeds 1 week, and then sow some seeds in a few weeks, and a few weeks after that sow some more, so you always have more coming along. Leaf lettuce is another great candidate for that. In fact, I'm going to plant them next to each other in all 3 of these beds. And that way I can succession sow, swap back and forth. Sow some seeds, some lettuce seeds among the beets when the beets are about half grown. Sow some beets among the lettuce when the lettuce is half grown. And I can keep that going throughout the cool season. I'm putting those both down here on the very bottom. This gets the least amount of sun. From what I remember from last year, it was about 4 to 6 hours in the wintertime. Lettuce and beets can both take a little less sun than most other crops, so they should do just fine down there. Now we need to leave space for potatoes, onions, and garlic. Let's talk about those next. It's not going to be time to plant these for a while for anyone, but especially cold winter gardeners. If you have cold winters, you will be planting your potatoes in the spring after the ground thaws, or 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. If you're like me and you don't actually get frost through the winter, you can actually start planting your potatoes in the fall after the weather cools off a bit. So I'm going to plant 2 beds of potatoes. And I'll probably plant those in October. All right, onions. I have videos on this, and I will do another one when it comes time to plant. But in cold winter climates, you want to sow your onion seeds indoors 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost date, so late winter. In southern mild winter zones like mine, we have 2 opportunities to start onions. We can start short day onions in mid-November or intermediate day onions in February. Northern zones are going to be growing long day onions. Again, I'll leave a link to that video in the description. You want to make sure you're growing the right length day onion for your area, or you'll only get leaves and not bulbs. I'm going to be growing a whole bed of globe onions. I'm going to put those in these 2 top beds, 1/2 bed each. Now, how about garlic? Here in a mild winter climate, I plant my garlic in November. In cold winter climates, you want to get your garlic planted about 6 weeks before the ground freezes. I'm going to dedicate this entire bed to my garlic this year because with half a bed, we always run out. Plus, I want some left over to plant next year. Now, how about a little companion planting in advance? The bunching onions, they are great companions for brassicas. So I'm going to plant those in rows out in the front yard with the cabbages and broccoli. The big brassicas will shade them a little, but bunching onions can handle a little shade. So it's going to be a perfect match. And the onions will help keep aphids and spider mites off of your brassicas. The last of the alliums will be chives and leeks. Another little companion planting advanced tip is that chives are great planted with carrots because if you have carrot fly, the chives mask the smell of the carrot, so the carrot fly won't be able to find them easily by smell, which is how they find them. So I'm going to tuck a small row of chives here at the ends of my carrot beds. Now, leeks take 100 to 120 days seed to harvest, so a little longer than some other things. They are frost hardy and they can take temperatures down into the 20s, lower if you pile mulch up around them. They can handle part shade, so I'm putting them down here with the beets and lettuce. Okay, cilantro, my favorite herb, one of my favorite herbs, bolts at any hint of warm weather. So it's best to keep it coming along by succession planting. So I'm going to block off this space here. Down here, the added bit of shade on this lower level will also help keep it cooler even on warmer days. Now for some more greens, Swiss chard and bok choy or pak choy. These can take a little bit of shade, so I'm going to put these down here in the last space on the bottom terrace. I'm going to tuck different lettuces like arugula and mesclun into little blank spots all over the garden. And they can be shaded by other plants and it won't hurt them. So what about some herbs like dill and fennel and parsley? They are also great companion plants, especially when they go to flower. So I'm not designating a specific space for them. I'm going to tuck those into all of the beds here and there. All right, so I've got one space left other than the little fabric raised bed. I've got one more space, and so I'm going to be putting the Napa cabbage and the Chinese broccoli that I was going to have in the front yard. I'm going to be putting those in this spot. So we've touched on a few companion plants for the fall garden already. The good news is that there is less pests and disease in the cool season, so it isn't as imperative. However, companion planting helps keep pests down, but it also beautifies the space. Some great cool season flowers to plant in and amongst your crops would be calendula, nasturtium, poppies, and snapdragons. All of these attract good bugs and pollinators. However, these are a second choice to fennel, dill, and broccoli, which I mentioned earlier. Those should be your first choices for companion plant. Now, along with planning your garden on paper, you also want to starting to prepare your soil if it's not full of summer crops still. To prepare the ground, you want to remove any plant debris from the previous season, especially if it's diseased. Remove the main trunk and root from the summer crops. You can leave the rest of the root system in, just get that main big piece that's just right below the surface of the soil. You want to disturb the soil as little as possible. You're building an entire network of soil life, and any disturbances to the soil disrupts their community. Don't dig or till. You just want to get a good 2 to 3 inch layer of organic compost, put it right on top of the older soil. Don't mix it in, just put it on top and you'll be able to plant right into it. If you have a drip system, pull it back before adding the compost. That's it for planting your fall garden. You're off and running. I'm so excited for cooler weather and less pests. How about you? It's about 90 degrees out here right now and I want to get back into the air conditioning. Next week in our fall garden series, we'll be starting seeds. So make sure that you get your seeds ordered if you haven't already. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up, share with a friend, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Until next time, keep growing.